Okay, so we have a dry day, although last night we did get some rain, which obviously rained us off yesterday. And just to show you why you shouldn't leave bare steel out, this is literally from overnight. So already you can see the rust that started forming there that was on that bare metal. And even as we go further down here, like the little, so this was where the solar panels were fixed in, and obviously you can see the corrosion that's starting already, certainly along there, down here. So yeah, that is why it's so important to have your bare metal covered. So what we decided last night is that whilst we're up here on the roof preparing the roof, we should probably take the mushrooms off, because obviously we know that the mushrooms leak from the screw holes, and we want to replace the mushrooms with different ones anyway. We don't want these brass ones. So we're going to whiz the mushrooms off, which Chris has already started this morning, since before I got here. And then we're just going to weld up the screw holes, because we'd have to re-tap new holes anyway, or we might get stainless steel ones, so that we'll weld them on instead. And then potentially just put some of the lead flash in that we were using originally for the holes as a temporary fix just over the top, till we decide A, what mushrooms we want to get, and B, whether we're going to put them on before we paint, etc. So yeah, fill some more holes, get going. So here you go, one of the mushrooms here. So you can see literally all the corrosion around here. There is a bit of sealant or something there, but you can see where the water has just been coming down through where the screws have gone in. Again, why would you screw through the roof? Baffles me. Anyway, right, so I'm just gonna start sanding and smoothing all of these bits of filler that we put in yesterday. Bit of 80 grit sandpaper. Ideally I would have liked a block of wood rather than a sponge, but it's all I've got, so it just makes it easier to sand this off. This is supposed to be easy sand filler, so again I just need to roughly smooth this out, because you can probably see the concave bit that I want to try and level out. So I'm going to go in with another wider bit of filler on top of this now. So we're just going to roughly get this smoothed, get rid of all the rough bits, and then yeah, go again. So with the recent rain, obviously we've then discovered that the back hatch was leaking. So if you look back to one of the last episodes, we were assessing after the rain, like what was leaking inside, and where the back hatch slides over and the join kind of goes up the way, that is leaking. So it's one of the things that we need to fix now before we get any further along the roof. And we realised that when we welded that strip onto the back hatch to stop it from sliding off, now we can't slide the hatch off, so now we can't access the area that we need to weld it. So yeah, bit of a problem. So just trying to figure out here where we can access. So it's the bit that's on the inside that obviously joins to the roof and stops the hatch from now sliding off. It's the seam, so the roof seam going up and across, if that makes any sense. And you can't access it from this side because there is the same piece there.
I just need to get underneath and tap and weld.
Yeah, but if you weld it from underneath, you're not going to be, the water that comes in there is just going to pool inside. There you go. So if you see under there, it's this lip here. So that bit there is stopping it from sliding open or forwards. And obviously this is the section that needs to be welded. And you can see that that's literally wet and flaking and crumbling. That's in really bad condition there. It's just had a bit of sealant thrown in it, so it's obviously been leaking for quite some time. And the problem is, if we weld it from underneath, yeah, okay, it's going to stop it from leaking, but possibly what's then going to happen is the water's going to run down here, it's going to run under there, under the hatch, and then it's going to pool under there, and it's just going to eat away. It's just going to sit there wet, so, and then it's going to eventually work its way through the weakest part. So we need to get the hatch off, which means grinding off the strip that we welded on so that we can fix it. Good welding practice though, eh?
Down there.
Get down there and it should pull off straight towards you. Ta-da! So, if you can see under here, this is the bit where we need to get to. So these little weep holes were completely blocked up on either side. So I've unblocked them, but obviously the damage is already under there where it's leaking through, where this upright piece joins on.
So what do I need to do? Weld in there?
Yeah, so that's going to be your issue all there.
Right, I need my big plate one then, honey.
Right then, therein lies the problem. So Chris has took this strip off the top. It was just a piece of angle iron, but obviously he's just cut through that so that we can work a bit better in there. But yeah, this here is exactly the issue. So without going to this length of taking it all apart, you'd have never have got in there. So I don't know if you can see this, it's probably going to be better for me to go down on the inside, but you can literally see all the way through that crack. Bear with. So there you go, you can literally see daylight. So that'll be why it was so wet. Literally that whole seam was just disintegrated. So that'll be why it was so wet down this end of the boat inside. So although it seems a shame that we have learned our lesson the hard way, we've had to undo the work we've already done. It's better that we do that and then we fix it so that we know 100% it's right for when we start rebuilding inside.
I took a glass eye, it's looking good.
Right, so I've just snipped out to get some lunch and this is now all welded. So I think what I'm going to do is, just as a double precaution, is try and put some filler in there and try and like angle it so that we can get the water running straight out of them. We might try and tidy them up if we can whilst we're here, but yes, that's the plan. This is actually not as easy as it looks. I'm not too worried because I'm going with the thought process that it can be a little bit rough and scruffy and I can sand it back, which yeah is a bit more effort, but at least it's not like, you know, the end of the world if it's not perfectly immaculate. But yeah, we're getting somewhere. I'm going to put you down now and get this done because this goes off pretty quickly. Right then, so we've got our first bit sanded. Lovely. Just probably needs an extra little bit there. Can feel something there, but other than that, I'm pretty chuffed with that. Okie dokie then. So yes, you'll notice that my boots are off and I'm in my socks because I have hooks on my boots that, despite taping them up, is making gouge marks as I'm crawling across the floor. So therefore I've taken off my boots and sanded down this first section. So I'm not sure if you can tell, but it's getting a much better shape on it. So I'm just gonna hopefully do one more coat now on the top, and then that should have evened itself out pretty nicely. So we've got a nice curvature back rather than the dip that we had. So we'll get this sorted and hopefully then work our way back to all of this bit over here. But for the time being, I'm going to crack on with this, and then hopefully I can get that sanded and red oxide, and then she'll be ready to face the week. But before next weekend, we do more work. Right, so we've cleaned this up. We've got some filler mixed up here, so we're just going to go in and smooth off the join so that hopefully you won't be able to tell it was even there. I'm going to get this on. I'll show you in a minute. Right, so I've whacked a bit of basic filler in here, but to get it right, as with everything, I need to go bigger. So I don't know if you can tell, there is like a dip here in that bit. So I'm just going to leave it like that for now. I'm going to stick some red oxide on it. And then when I get to this part of the roof, it's not too much of a drama just to grind that back with the rest of it. And then I can actually fill and get the profile of the roof back how we want it there. So I'm just gonna, that bit's done now. Bye bye old chimney hole. Red oxide you. Right, there we go. It's not neat, it's not tidy, but it's protected for now until we get to this whole section of roof. I'm not too fussed about this little bit right now. All I'm fussed about is protecting it from the weather. I'm running out of daylight, so I just need to make sure that it's gonna not be exposed to the elements, not go rusty and horrid, and just protect it until we're ready for it. So we've got this little bit all sanded, so I'm just gonna whack a load of red oxide on this too. I did put some body filler in here. You're not really gonna see it, but it was more just to double protect that weld now that we've replaced that in there. But yes, I am just, sorry husband, you're gonna have to grind this away, but just want the metal protected. Obviously that's going to be a real key area, and it's probably why it was so wet inside in the first place, because that was one of the major areas of leakage. So really important for us now to get this watertight before we do anything inside. Hatch back in place, good as new. Don't worry Chris, I've fixed all of the bits of red oxide that you redid with the grinder while you were doing that job. Okay, so I'm just going to get this bit sanded now, just lightly with the sander. Hopefully it comes up all right, but again, running out of daylight, and today's Sunday, so if we can't get this done, which I'm not going to be able to get it to where I'm satisfied, then that's going to mean that I'm going to have to paint over it in red oxide anyway, and then come back to it next week, which is fine. It is what it is. I still need to get all the bits of rust off the edge and whatnot that came overnight anyway, so crack on, let's get it done. So other than a couple of little areas after sanding, I'm pretty happy with that. Now I'm gonna have to revisit it anyway, so I'm gonna get it red oxided up for now, protect it from the weather for the week, and then we'll see where we're at next weekend. So no matter what project it is that I'm doing, I always feel like the bit where you start painting is the bit that it really feels like it's starting to come together. It's actually starting to look like it's one boat now. That'll be nice. Okay, so couple of things I just want to mention before I show you what I've done today. First of all, please be kind in the comments. Like, I am not a professional body person. I'm working against the elements, I'm working outside, I don't have the luxury of getting it to one stage and then leaving it. So what I've done today is purely just to get it to a stage where it's there or thereabouts. It's very rough, but it's protected from the elements and it's better than it was. It's not the finished article. It will be gone back over and it will be done again. It's not ideal, but it's how I have to do it. So please be kind, bear that in mind. So I'll show you where we're at. Okay, here you have it. So we now have red oxide primed roof. Pretty much, I'm gonna say, there or thereabouts, halfway-ish. It's probably where I'm standing is halfway, to be fair, but so the dip you can make out here. Again, it's not finished. It's not sanded, it needed another coat over, but I'm battling the dark fast approaching. Same here, so you can see this hatch here. I am planning to go back over this, obviously feather out the edges, smooth it down this way. Obviously it needs a lot more sanding. This whole section I'm not too worried about because I need to bring it this way into all of this. So when we start this bit of the roof, I'll be able to then just go back, sand this back, sand it down, and then bring the final coat of filler back up and over it. So yeah, as I say, not finished, however, it is what it is, and we kind of are where we are with it. So I'll be able to get this all sorted hopefully the next time we get here, but I think I'm not going to come as far. I think I'm maybe only going to come to here, just grind this bit back and then finish this bit and come down the way, if that even makes any sense at all. And there you go, the view from the other side. So the profile of that dip is much better. So you can see there is a natural kind of curvature to the boat anyway, but it doesn't have that great big whopping V in the middle. So yeah, super happy with that, to be honest. And I'll be even happier once it's all finished and it's properly smoothed out and leveled out, but for now, that'll do. So that kind of brings me to the end of the day. Obviously, I've still got the two little holes open now for the mushrooms, so I'm just going to improvise a little bit. I was going to stick a bit of lead flashing over, but to be honest, it's not going to stick to the wet paint. And I don't have the heat because it works better if you just heat it up with a heat gun first of all, which is in my husband's truck, so yeah, can't do that. So ironically, although it feels like we're moving forwards, I'm going to go back to sticking a pan lid and a pot over the top like the day that we bought her. But yeah, it'll do for now. It's all a means to an end. We're making progress slowly but surely, and that's all that matters. Okay, I'm starving. I'm gonna go for some dinner. That's all for now.